I should have walked away. God knows I should have. But when you hear your best friend confess, not to you, but to the silence of an empty room, that he's been in love with you for years, you don't just walk away. You stand there frozen, every word carving itself into your chest like a blade. And that's exactly what happened last night. The thing is, I've known Ethan since we were kids. We grew up in the same sleepy town in Ohio, played ball on the same cracked courts, shared the same beat-up truck to school, and knew each other's families like our own. Ethan was the kind of guy everyone liked, laid back, sharp-tongued when he wanted to be, but with this quiet strength that made people trust him. He was my anchor, my safe place. And now, in the span of a few overheard sentences, that anchor had shifted. I can't keep pretending. I've loved him all along. God, he doesn't even see it. That's what I heard through the half-open door of his room. His voice barely above a whisper. My name followed, soft, almost reverent. I had pressed my hand to the doorframe, my heart jackhammering, my mind screaming to leave before he noticed. But my body betrayed me, and now I can't unhear it. This morning, when Ethan came into the kitchen, still half asleep with his hair sticking up in all directions, I couldn't look at him the same way. His usual morning, man, sounded different, heavier somehow, like there was a secret loaded inside it. Or maybe that was just me. Maybe I was the one who'd changed. Because here's the truth. The idea of Ethan being in love with me shouldn't have rattled me this much. But it did. It rattled me down to my bones. Jake? You good? He asked, his brow furrowed when I dropped my spoon into the bowl of cereal, milk splashing onto the counter. Yeah, fine. Just tired. I lied, forcing a laugh that sounded hollow in the quiet kitchen. But all day I carried his words with me. They burned in my chest. They echoed in my ears. They made me question everything, every late-night talk we'd had. Every time his shoulder brushed mine. Every stupid inside joke. Had it all meant something more to him? And worse, had it meant something more to me too? That evening, the sky over our little town stretched wide and bruised with purples and oranges. The kind of sunset that made the horizon look endless. Ethan and I sat on the hood of his old Chevy, a ritual we'd done 100 times before. Usually, the silence between us was easy. Tonight, it pressed against my lungs, suffocating. He nudged me with his elbow. You're quiet. What's going on in that head of yours? I turned to him, words perched on my tongue, threatening to spill. I know you love me. What the hell do we do now? But instead I shrugged. Just thinking about stuff. Stuff, he repeated, smirking. That's vague. Yeah, well, so's my life right now, I muttered. The smirk faded, and for a second, his eyes softened in that way that always made me feel like he could see right through me. Like no matter how hard I tried to keep things hidden, Ethan knew. Maybe he did. Maybe that's why he hadn't said anything all these years, because he knew I wasn't ready to hear it. But now I had. And the silence between us was no longer safe. It was a ticking time bomb. Later that night, lying in bed, I replayed every moment we'd ever shared. Like the time in senior year when I got dumped before prom and Ethan showed up at my door with 2 six-packs and said, "Screw them, we'll make our own night." We ended up dancing in my living room, just the two of us, laughing until our sides hurt. Or the countless times I'd crashed at his place after late shifts, waking up to find him draped half over me on the couch, his arms slung heavy across my chest. I'd always brushed it off, just Ethan being Ethan. But now those memories glowed with a different kind of light, one I wasn't sure I was ready to face. Because maybe, just maybe, part of me had always known. And that terrified me more than anything. The next morning, Ethan asked if I wanted to go fishing at the lake, just like we used to when we were kids. I agreed, mostly because I didn't trust myself to say no without raising suspicion. The lake was quiet, a glassy sheet of blue reflecting the early sun, the air cool with a hint of autumn. We cast our lines, and for a while the silence was easy again, almost like before. But then he looked at me, his jaw tight, his hands fidgeting with the reel. "Jake," he said softly, almost like he was afraid of the word itself. "There's something I need to." I know. I cut him off, my voice sharper than I meant. His head snapped toward me, eyes wide. The words stuck between us like barbed wire. You. What? I swallowed hard, my throat dry. I know, Ethan. I heard you. Last night. The world seemed to stop. The water stilled. The breeze died. Even the birds fell silent. His face drained of color, and for the first time in all the years I'd known him, Ethan looked scared. He started, then stopped, his breath hitching. Jake, I'm sorry. You weren't supposed to hear that. My chest tightened. So it's true. He met my gaze then, and there it was, the raw, unfiltered truth blazing in his eyes. Yeah, it's true. I've been in love with you for as long as I can remember, and I never said anything because I didn't want to lose you. You're my best friend, Jake. The last thing I wanted was to ruin that. His voice cracked, and something in me cracked with it, because in that moment, I wasn't just staring at my best friend. I was staring at the boy who had been by my side through every storm, the man who had carried me when I couldn't stand, the person who knew me better than anyone else. And my heart, traitorous and loud, whispered a truth I wasn't ready for. Maybe I'd been in love with him too. Ethan's confession lingered in the air, raw and trembling, like a string pulled too tight. He looked like he was bracing himself for a punch, his shoulders tense, his jaw clenched, eyes darting anywhere but me. I should have said something, anything, but all I could manage was silence, my pulse thrumming in my ears, my chest aching with the weight of a truth I wasn't ready to carry. Finally, I found my voice. Why didn't you just tell me? His laugh was hollow, bitter. Because, Jake, you've always been straight. At least I thought you were. What was I supposed to do? Ruin our friendship? Make things weird? I couldn't risk losing you, so I kept it buried. He shook his head, staring at the lake. But I guess I wasn't careful enough. The pain in his voice gutted me. I wanted to reach out, to touch his hand, to do something to ease that hurt, but my body stayed frozen. Ethan, I whispered. He finally looked at me, and there it was again, the softness, the longing, the love he'd hidden so well. Don't say anything you don't mean, Jake. Please, I don't think I can take it. The plea in his voice broke something inside me, and suddenly I wasn't afraid anymore. I leaned closer, my voice trembling. I don't know what this means, but I can't stop thinking about you either. Not since last night. Not since I heard you say those words. His breath caught. Jake, maybe I've been blind. Maybe I didn't want to see it. But the truth is, I don't want to lose you either. And the thought of you loving me, it doesn't scare me. It scares me how much I want to let you. The silence stretched between us, heavy and electric. Then, slowly, Ethan's lips curved into the smallest, most fragile smile I'd ever seen. You mean that? I do. My voice cracked. God, Ethan, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I know one thing: I don't want to walk away from this. From you. We didn't kiss right away. It wasn't some dramatic movie moment with swelling music and fireworks. It was smaller, quieter, more terrifying in its simplicity. Ethan's hand brushed against mine, tentative, waiting. I turned my palm over, laced our fingers together, and squeezed. That was it. That was everything. For a while, we just sat there by the water, hands entwined, letting the quiet wrap around us like a promise. The days after that were strange, a blur of unspoken questions and stolen glances. We went about our routines, but the air between us buzzed with something new, fragile and unsteady. Sometimes I caught Ethan staring at me like he was memorizing my face, and I'd feel my chest tighten in ways I couldn't explain. But doubt still gnawed at me. Was this real, or was I just swept up in the gravity of his confession? One night, unable to sleep, I found Ethan on the porch, nursing a beer, the night air cool around us. He didn't look surprised to see me. Couldn't sleep? He asked. Yeah. You? He shrugged. Same. I sat beside him, silence stretching. Then I said, this is scary. His head turned. What is? Us. Whatever this is. I don't want to screw it up. I don't want to hurt you. Ethan studied me for a long moment before replying. Jake, I've lived with this for years. The only thing that would hurt me is if you shut me out now. If you want to figure this out, I'm here. But if you don't, just say so. I met his gaze, the sincerity in his eyes striking me like a blow. And in that moment, the fear melted, replaced by something clearer, steadier. I want to, I said. I want to figure this out. With you. For the first time in days, Ethan's smile reached his eyes. It wasn't perfect. God, it was messy. There were awkward conversations, hesitant touches, nights when I questioned myself until dawn. But there were also moments that felt like magic, like when Ethan kissed me for the first time under the flickering neon sign of the diner we'd haunted since high school. His lips were warm and trembling, his hands cupping my face like I was something precious. Or the time we drove out to the ridge and lay in the bed of his truck, staring at the stars, his arm around me, his thumb tracing circles on my skin. For the first time in years, I felt right, like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. And maybe that's what love is. Not certainty, not perfection, but choosing each other, again and again, even when it's terrifying. Weeks later, we found ourselves back at the lake, the same place where everything had shifted. Ethan tossed a stone into the water, watching the ripples spread. "Do you ever regret it?" he asked softly. "Regret what?" "Telling you. Changing everything." I stepped closer, slipping my hand into his. "No. Do you?" He smiled, shaking his head. "Not for a second." And then, under the wide Ohio sky, I kissed him. Not tentative, not uncertain, but sure, steady, real. Because the truth is, Ethan had always been my anchor. I just hadn't realized until now that he was also my home. Love didn't come to us like a thunderstorm, sudden and wild. It came like the slow rising of the sun, gentle, patient, inevitable. And as we stood there by the water, our hands clasped, our hearts finally unburdened, I knew one thing for certain. We weren't a mess anymore. We were just beginning. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.